the discovery of an ancient conflict. The USS Pathfinder drifted silently through the outer rim of the Andromeda sector when the proximity alarms shattered the peaceful hum of deep space exploration. Captain Elena Vasquez bolted upright in her command chair as her bridge crew scrambled to their stations. The main view screen flickered to life, revealing a sight that would haunt the crew's dreams for years to come. Two massive fleets faced each other across the void like ancient titans frozen in eternal combat. On the port side hung sleek vessels of polished metal that seemed to pulse with internal light. Their surfaces rippled like liquid mercury, occasionally flashing with brilliant bursts of energy. These ships moved with fluid grace, never holding the same shape for more than a few seconds. To starboard lurked an entirely different nightmare. Angular, crystalline behemoths jutted through space like floating mountains of living glass. Their surfaces caught and refracted light in impossible patterns, creating rainbow cascades that hurt to look at directly. These vessels moved with deliberate precision, every maneuver calculated and methodical. "Report," Captain Vasquez commanded, her voice steady despite the awe-inspiring scene before them. Lieutenant Commander James Park, her second-in-command, worked frantically at his console. "Captain, we've detected approximately 200 vessels on each side. Energy signatures are off the charts. Whatever they're using for weapons and propulsion, it's far beyond our current technology." Dr. Sarah Chen, the ship's xenobiologist, looked up from her scanner readings with wide eyes. "Captain, I'm detecting two completely different forms of life aboard those vessels. The metallic ships contain energy-based signatures that don't match any known biological patterns. The crystalline vessels show silicon-based life forms with some kind of collective neural network." Before Elena could respond, Communications Officer Maria Santos raised her hand urgently. "Captain, both fleets are hailing us simultaneously. The universal translators are working overtime, but I'm getting coherent messages from both sides." "Phew, them through," Elena ordered, straightening her uniform. This was humanity's first contact with alien intelligence, and it was happening in the middle of what appeared to be a war zone. The main screen split, showing two very different alien faces. On the left appeared a being of pure energy contained within a metallic humanoid shell. Its features shifted constantly, sometimes appearing as moving light patterns, other times solidifying into something resembling a face. When it spoke, its voice resonated like music mixed with electronic static. "Unknown vessel. I am Prime Consciousness Luxor of the Zephyrian Collective. You have entered a combat zone where we battle the Silicon invaders who seek to steal our quantum energy sources. We offer you alliance and technology in exchange for your assistance in destroying the Thornak threat." The right side of the screen revealed something equally alien, but completely different. A creature that looked like it had been carved from living diamonds sat within what appeared to be a crystalline command chamber. Multiple eyes dotted its angular head, and when it moved, light refracted through its body in mesmerizing patterns. Its voice came through as a chorus of harmonic tones, as if multiple beings spoke in perfect unison. "Alien craft, we are Prism Mind, Quartz 7 of the Thornak Unity. You have arrived during our righteous campaign against the energy parasites who consume the life force of entire star systems. Join us in eliminating the Zephyrian plague, and we will share the crystalline wisdom of the ages." Elena felt the weight of an impossible decision settling on her shoulders. Two advanced alien civilizations, each claiming the other was a threat, each offering alliance. She made a quick gesture to cut the communication feeds and turned to her crew. "Analysis, people. What are we looking at here?" Dr. Chen spoke first, her scientific mind already processing the implications. "Captain, based on their biological signatures and ship configurations, these two species couldn't be more different. The Zephyrians appear to be energy-based consciousness that require specific quantum frequencies to maintain cohesion. The Thornaks are silicon-based with a collective intelligence network that processes information through crystalline matrices." Lieutenant Park added his tactical assessment. "Both fleets are maintaining perfect defensive formations. Their weapon systems are powered but not actively targeting each other. It's like they're in a perpetual standoff." Chief Engineer Roberto Valdez, who had been quietly studying the energy readings, suddenly looked up with confusion. "Captain, something doesn't add up here. Both fleets are producing massive energy signatures, but they're not actually firing at each other. In fact, their power output suggests they could obliterate each other in minutes, but they're just sitting there." Elena felt a spark of curiosity ignite in her mind. "Interesting. Helm, take us to a neutral position between both fleets. Close enough to observe, but far enough to avoid getting caught in crossfire." Santos opened a three-way communication channel. "Captain," Dr. Chen interrupted. "Are you sure that's wise? We don't know their intentions." "That's exactly why we need to find out," Elena replied firmly. "Humanity didn't become an interstellar species by avoiding challenges. We became explorers by asking questions." The three-way communication link established, Elena found herself face-to-face with both alien commanders simultaneously. The tension was immediately palpable as both beings began speaking at once, their voices creating a cacophony of accusation and counter-accusation. "Prime consciousness Luxor," Elena said, raising her hand to interrupt. "Prism, Mind, Quartz 7, I am Captain Elena Vasquez of the human vessel USS Pathfinder. Before we discuss any alliances, I need to understand this conflict. How long have you been at war?" The Zephyrian's energy form pulsed brighter. 500 years, human. 500 years since the Thornax began their campaign to crystallize our quantum energy sources, turning them into static monuments instead of the flowing power they were meant to be. Quartz 7's multiple eyes flashed in sequence. "Incorrect, human Elena. For 5 centuries we have defended the galaxy against Zephyrian consumption. They devour energy without creating anything permanent, leaving dead space where once thriving systems existed." Elena exchanged glances with her crew. 500 years of war between species this advanced should have resulted in one side achieving victory long ago. Unless... "Tactical Officer Reynolds," she called to her weapons specialist. "Run a computational analysis on both fleets. I want to know their relative combat capabilities." Lieutenant Reynolds worked quickly, his fingers dancing across holographic displays. After several minutes, he looked up with amazement. "Captain, this is incredible. Both fleets are perfectly matched. Every weapon system on one side has an exact countermeasure on the other. Every defensive capability is met with an equivalent offensive capability. Mathematically, neither side can achieve victory." Dr. Chen leaned forward, her scientific instincts fully engaged. "Captain, may I suggest we ask them about their previous battles? I have a theory forming." Elena nodded. "Prime consciousness Luxor, Prism Mind Quartz 7. Can you describe your most recent engagement?" Both aliens launched into detailed descriptions of their latest battle. As they spoke, a pattern emerged that made Elena's heart race with understanding. The Zephyrians described flowing attacks that adapted mid-combat, striking at weak points and redistributing energy dynamically. The Thornax outlined precise calculated strikes based on mathematical probability matrices and crystalline prediction algorithms. More importantly, both sides described battles that ended in perfect stalemates. No decisive victories, no major losses, just endless repetition of the same tactical dance. "Chief Valdez," Elena called quietly. "Are you thinking what I'm thinking?" The engineer nodded grimly. "They're not fighting a war, Captain. They're stuck in an equilibrium loop. Their technologies and tactics have evolved specifically to counter each other so perfectly that victory became mathematically impossible." Dr. Chen's eyes widened as understanding dawned. "It's like an evolutionary arms race that reached perfect balance. Every adaptation one side makes gets countered by the other side. They're trapped in their own success at warfare." Elena felt excitement building in her chest. This wasn't just a war they had stumbled into. This was a puzzle that only fresh perspective could solve. The kind of puzzle that humans, with their chaotic creativity and adaptive thinking, might actually be able to crack. "Santos, I need you to do something that might sound crazy," Elena said, turning to her communications officer. "I want you to ask both fleets to send detailed technical specifications about what they're actually fighting over. Tell them we're conducting a scientific analysis to determine the most efficient alliance." As the data began streaming in from both sides, Elena gathered her senior staff around the main holographic display. The information that appeared made everything suddenly clear. The Zephyrians needed quantum energy in its pure flowing state to maintain their consciousness and power their civilization. The Thornax required stable, crystallized energy sources to feed their collective intelligence networks and maintain their crystalline biology. Both species were fighting over control of quantum energy nodes throughout the sector. But here was the fascinating part. They were fighting over the same nodes, but they needed the energy in completely different states. The Zephyrians wanted flowing quantum energy. The Thornax needed crystallized quantum energy. Dr. Chen was the first to voice what everyone was thinking. Captain, they're fighting over something they could share. These quantum energy nodes could theoretically be harvested in both states, simultaneously. Not theoretically, Chief Valdez said, his engineer's mind already working out the details. I can see exactly how to do it. The Zephyrians tap the flowing energy, while the Thornax crystallize what's left. It's not competition. It's symbiosis. Elena felt a surge of pride in her species. Here were two incredibly advanced civilizations that had fought for 5 centuries, over a problem that humans could solve in minutes simply by looking at it differently. The question now was whether she could convince two species locked in eternal warfare to trust a newcomer with a solution that seemed impossible. The 5-hour solution. Elena looked at the data streaming across her screens and made the kind of decision that would either save thousands of lives or get her crew killed. She was going to interrupt a 500-year war with what amounted to a suggestion. Open the channel to both fleets, she commanded. Full broadcast to every ship. When both alien commanders appeared on screen, Elena could see the suspicion in their alien features. Prime Consciousness Luxor's energy form flickered uncertainly while Prism Mind Court 7's crystalline eyes focused with laser intensity. Honored beings, Elena began, choosing her words carefully. My crew has analyzed your conflict and we believe we've identified something both sides may have overlooked. Impossible, Luxor's harmonious voice rang out. We have studied this war for centuries. Every possibility has been calculated and tested. Court 7's multiple voices added. Human arrogance cannot solve what Thornac wisdom and Zephyrian cunning have failed to resolve. Elena held up her hand. With respect, you've both been trying to solve the wrong problem. You're fighting over who gets to control the quantum energy nodes, but what if the real solution is sharing them? The silence that followed was deafening. Then both alien commanders began speaking at once, their voices rising in what Elena recognized as universal expressions of impossibility and disbelief. The energy cannot be shared, Luxor insisted. It must flow freely or it becomes useless to our kind. Crystallization is essential, Court 7 added. Energy that flows cannot power our collective consciousness. Elena smiled, feeling the thrill of a breakthrough moment. That's exactly why sharing works. Dr. Chen, display the quantum energy analysis. The holographic display showed a detailed breakdown of how quantum energy nodes functioned. Dr. Chen stepped forward, her excitement visible as she explained their discovery. The quantum energy nodes generate power in multiple phases, she began, pointing to the swirling energy patterns. The initial phase produces flowing quantum energy perfect for Zephyrian needs. As this energy disperses, it naturally begins to crystallize into stable matrices ideal for Thornac requirements. Chief Valdez added the technical details. It's like a river flowing into a lake. The Zephyrians can harvest the flowing energy upstream, while the Thornacs collect the crystallized energy downstream. Neither interferes with the other. Both alien commanders stared at the display in stunned silence. Elena could almost see their minds racing, processing implications that neither species had considered in 5 centuries of warfare. Furthermore, Dr. Chen continued, our analysis shows that cooperative harvesting would actually increase total energy output by 37%. You've been fighting over scarcity when abundance was possible. Prime Consciousness. Luxor's form began pulsing. Rapidly, which Elena had learned indicated intense thought processing. This could work. But how do we ensure the Thornax don't interfere with the flow dynamics? Prism Mind Quartz 7's eyes shifted patterns as its collective intelligence digested the information. If the Zephyrians disrupt crystallization, patterns, our networks will collapse. Trust is difficult after 500 years. Elena recognized the moment when theoretical possibility had to become practical reality. This was where human diplomacy and emotional intelligence would prove as valuable as human scientific insight. I propose a test, she said firmly. Select one disputed node. Both sides send a small team to work with my crew. We'll demonstrate the cooperative harvesting technique on a small scale. If it works, we can discuss expanding the approach. Lieutenant Commander Park leaned close to Elena's. Here, Captain, are you sure we should get this involved? We're talking about mediating between two species that have been killing each other for centuries. Elena whispered back. James, this is exactly why humanity reached the stars. We don't back down from impossible problems. We solve them. To everyone's surprise, both alien commanders agreed to the test. Coordinates were established for a minor quantum energy node on the edge of the disputed territory. Elena selected a small team, Dr. Chen for the scientific expertise, Chief Valdez for technical implementation, and Lieutenant Reynolds for security. 3 hours later, the USS Pathfinder arrived at the designated node alongside a small Zephyrian vessel that flowed like liquid metal, and a Thornax ship that looked like a flying cathedral made of crystal. The cooperation began awkwardly. The Zephyrian representative, a being called Flow Singer Azure, existed as dancing lights within a containment field. The Thornax delegate, Fragment Mind Ruby 12, appeared as a living gemstone that communicated through harmonic resonances. Dr. Chen took charge of the scientific coordination, setting up monitoring equipment around the quantum energy node. The node itself was beautiful and terrifying, a swirling vortex of pure energy that bent space-time around it like a cosmic whirlpool. Azure, can you show us how Zephyrians normally harvest quantum energy? Dr. Chen asked. The energy being flowed forward, extending tendrils of light into the quantum stream. Immediately, energy began flowing into collection devices aboard the Zephyrian ship, but Elena noticed something the combatants had missed. Ruby 12, look at the energy patterns downstream from Azure's collection point. The crystalline being moved closer to examine the energy flow. As Elena had suspected, Azure's harvesting was actually creating more stable crystallization points further down the stream. Incredible. Ruby 12's harmonic voice expressed amazement. Zephyrian harvesting enhances crystallization rather than disrupting it. Chief Valdez was already working on technical modifications. If we adjust the collection array angles by 15 degrees and synchronize the harvesting rhythms, we can optimize both processes simultaneously. For the next hour, the three species worked together with increasing excitement. The Zephyrians collected their flowing energy, while the Thornax gathered crystallized power. Not only did the system work, it worked better than either species had achieved alone. Energy output is 42% higher than normal, Azure reported, its light patterns dancing with what Elena recognized as joy. Crystallization quality exceeds standard parameters by 31%, Ruby 12 added, its harmonic tones expressing similar satisfaction. Dr. Chen looked at Elena with triumph in her eyes. Captain, it's working perfectly. The cooperative approach is more efficient than competition. But Elena knew the real test was yet to come. Making the technology work was only half the battle. Getting two species to trust each other after 5 centuries of war would require a different kind of human strength. Azure, Ruby 12, Elena said seriously, I need to ask you both something important. What do you think your people will say when you report these results? Both aliens fell silent, considering the implications. Finally, Azure spoke first. The collective will be skeptical. We have been taught that Thornax consume energy permanently, making it unavailable for future use. Ruby 12's harmonics shifted to a lower frequency. The Unity will question whether this is a Zephyrian trick. We have believed for centuries that their harvesting methods destroy the crystalline structure necessary for our survival. Elena nodded. understanding the challenge. You've both been taught to see each other as threats to your existence. But what if that understanding was based on incomplete information? She gestured to the quantum energy node, where both species' equipment continued working in perfect harmony. Look at the evidence. Your methods complement each other. Neither of you is a threat to the other. You're puzzle pieces that fit together. Dr. Chen stepped forward with additional data. We've analyzed 500 years of battle records from both sides. The territorial disputes, the resource conflicts, the technological arms races. All of it was based on a fundamental misunderstanding of how quantum energy nodes function. Chief Valdez added the engineering perspective. Both your species developed incredible technology trying to fight each other. Imagine what you could accomplish if you worked together. Elena watched as understanding dawned on both alien representatives. The energy being and crystalline creature looked at each other, really looked perhaps for the first time in centuries. Captain Elena, Azure said slowly, how do we convince our people to trust ancient enemies? The same way we convinced you, Elena replied, with evidence, patience, and the courage to try something new. What followed were the most intense 4 hours of diplomacy in human history. Elena's crew worked as intermediaries, translating not just languages but entire worldviews. They arranged video conferences between the main fleets, demonstrating the cooperative harvesting technique repeatedly. Dr. Chen provided scientific analysis that proved cooperation was more effective than competition. Chief Valdez designed technical protocols that ensured both species could work together safely. Lieutenant Reynolds developed security arrangements that protected both sides during the transition period. But it was Elena herself who provided the crucial element, the emotional intelligence to help two species overcome centuries of hatred and fear. Fear is natural, she told both fleets during the final negotiation. Humans know fear well. We spent centuries fighting wars over resources, territory, and differences we didn't understand. But we learned something important. Our differences can be our greatest strengths when we choose cooperation over conquest. As the 5th hour approached, Elena found herself holding her breath. Both fleets had withdrawn to their maximum communication, range to debate the proposal among their peoples. Humanity's first contact with alien intelligence hung in the balance. Then, simultaneously, both Prime Consciousness Luxor and Prism Mind Quartz 7 appeared on the main screen. The Zephyrian Collective accepts the cooperation proposal, Luxor announced, its energy form brighter than Elena had ever seen it. The Thornak Unity agrees to implement the new protocols, Quartz 7 added, its crystalline structure gleaming with reflected light. Elena felt tears of joy streaming down her face as both alien fleets began moving toward the quantum energy nodes, not as enemies but as partners. In 5 hours, humanity had accomplished what 5 centuries of warfare could not. Not through superior weapons or advanced technology, but through the simple human gifts of curiosity, empathy, and the refusal to accept that problems were unsolvable. 6 months later, Captain Elena Vasquez stood on the bridge of the USS Pathfinder as it patrolled the former war zone, now transformed into the most productive region of space in the galaxy. Zephyrian and Thornak ships worked side by side, their combined efforts powering new colonies and research stations. Captain, Dr. Chen reported with satisfaction, the cooperative networks have exceeded all projections. Both species are thriving, like never before. Elena smiled as she watched a Zephyrian energy ship and a Thornak crystal ship working together to establish a new quantum harvesting station. Humanity had found its place among the stars not as conquerors, but as bridge builders. The war that no one could win had been ended not by force but by the most human trait of all, the ability to see possibilities where others saw only problems. And in the depths of space, 2 ancient enemies had become the closest of allies. All because one human captain refused to accept that 500 years of warfare was the way things had to be.